I take your point about the majority ruling on this topic, but I don't think these are the source. I think it's a credible source of information and leadership for patients and customers. And I say that because no one knows more about our drugs than we do. We know how they work, who they work in, what the side effects are. We have a depth of knowledge about our products that we either have to find fair and transparent ways to bring to patients and consumers directly, or we have to impart that information to trusted intermediaries who then bring it to patients. And whether that intermediary is the physician or some nonprofit organization or some other entity is really kind of irrelevant. Ultimately, it's our responsibility to get this information imparted in ways that help patients make good decisions.
I think we have a fantastic opportunity, and it would be a very big mistake of this industry with the revolution that we're seeing both in biology and in IT, not to take that opportunity of the incredible changes, things that we're developing, not to talk about them. It would be extremely also concerning, I think, to patients if we were to hide and not be part of that conversation. And we have that opportunity to explain the science that we're driving, the changes that science brings, what we can do for patients. And it would be a miss not to do that. And I think we will do that in partnerships, and thanks to partnerships, be more credible. So we shouldn't each speak in our silo about what's happening, because what's happening is not in a silo, right? So if we create this big technological change with some of our medicines that are no longer even medicines or cures, that are, I don't know, how would you call CAR T? That's not a medicine, right? So it's a therapy. If you create that revolution, it goes all the way down like a Mexican wave, all the way down to the patient, disrupting just about everybody in that chain. And it would be a mistake not to talk about it and be proud about that change, but also not to inform everybody down the chain of what change you're bringing, and to discuss with them what it means for them and how you can adapt and how you can prepare. So I think we have this great opportunity. IT is another one of those incredible changes that is going to disrupt us all for the better. But if we don't talk to each other, if we don't take that opportunity, we'll create distrust and we'll miss a fantastic opportunity.
Well, the title is Can Pharma Be the Go-To Source? And I've done a lot of thinking about the go-to source for exactly what. And I think an important distinction is between knowledge and solutions. And I firmly believe that we, in many ways, are the go-to source and will be in the future if we offer solutions to patients, comprehensive solutions beyond just drug therapy. And if I look at our own areas, in pharma, we're a mid-sized company, about 20,000 people of the 50,000 people that work for us at Merck. So in pharma, we're a mid-sized company, and by definition, we have to focus. And what we focus on is that we try to make a real, meaningful difference in the specialty care areas we serve and actually measure that. I think medical has such a fantastic opportunity, but other functions outside of medical, such as drug safety, other more backstream R&D functions, because we have the ability to potentially have peer-to-peer relationships. Mm-hmm. Physicians speaking to physicians, which by definition, and that was the start of your session, can generate trust if done in the right way. But there's also a risk, because as physicians, certainly myself and several of us in the panel would readily admit are biased, and we think we know things because we're physicians that we don't always do. So it's critical that we're very methodological, science-based. We measure our interventions in patient support programs. We generate meaningful solutions that make a difference in people's lives. And we measure it and we talk about it.
I think the notion of being a trusted partner or a trusted company, I think is, for me, one is almost a little bit too abstract. I mean, what does trust really mean? I think from I trust this email finds you well to in God we trust. There's such a wide range of what can understand in terms of what trust means. And I think it would be important to be, I think, Steve, as you has highlighted as well, be more specific about what we really talk about. Because I think for being able to trust, I think one has to be able to have clarity on, what to expect, and also to make sure that there is no overreach in that. And I think it's an area where misunderstanding or risk of misunderstanding will always be very high. On one side, we have the tension of, you have pharmaceutical companies who, create billions of dollars of shareholder value. You have executive teams who collectively make $100 million of salaries in a year, and that will always create tensions. And just to be clear, I'm not advocating against it. I'm just saying that's the background, behind which we have to think through about what we mean with trust and what are some of the perceptions out there and how we deal with them. The other thing I think which is important on that scale also to keep in mind is that many of the great therapies that the companies make, they have the potential to save lives or turn it around to have people not dying. Yeah. If you want to talk about trust, and I think some of us have for sure experiences in terms of what it means, if it means you or somebody close in your family, suddenly the meaning of trust becomes a very different one. You trust a website, you trust a company. What's a company really? I can't really trust a company if it's the life of my child. So I think to think through what a company can do, what it's good at, but also what it cannot do and what it should not do, and know where the limits are, and where maybe partners are part of the solution, I think that for me is a key theme.